A friend of mine recently asked me if I was planning on returning to WoW for Dragonflight. I said, what, after Shadowlands? I don't think so. He said, things are changing, it looks like Blizz are fixing a lot of the issues that plagued the last two expansions. Unwanted features, systems with a launch stability of a Kongan bridge. It's all looking up. I said, look mate, I've moved on with my life. I want to start a family. He said, what life? I got no life! And who needs family when you've got a raid team? I said you couldn't pay me to come back to WoW. He said you can play as a Tauren rogue now. Yeah, so I'm returning for Dragonflight. Now in all seriousness, there's a reason why the break I've taken from WoW has been over a year and a half long at this point. Simply put, the game has been at an all-time low.
Never in the history of the game has there been such devastation.
And that has played a big factor in why I disappeared off YouTube for a good while. Yes, I made some Final Fantasy content after dropping out of WoW, and I'll likely do more, but Warcraft is my favourite game of all time. It's what inspired me to make this channel in the first place, so seeing it in almost as bad a state as the UK is right now...
Scott, man.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, for bringing forward this report today.
Scott. Sorry, you sound like a Dalek, and I don't mean that unkindly.
Almost completely sapped my inspiration for making videos. But since I've taken that break, something has always felt a bit missing. Something hidden away at the back of my brain, lying dormant, just waiting for the right moment to emerge. Sounds a bit like a tumour actually. So I began by watching the expansion trailer, and whilst I'll admit I wasn't that hyped the first time around, upon giving it a second shot, I started to really root for this statue bro, and it was nice to see the dragons return. On a personal note, I liked the bit where the construct waited for 10,000 years for something to happen. It was almost as long as my subscribers have been waiting for an upload. Speaking of, for the benefit of the two people watching who are wondering what I've been doing for the last 10 months, the answer is, well, boomer shit. Moving into my own home with an IRL girlfriend who isn't a body pillow, eating proper food not cooked in a microwave or Ronald McDonald's anus, and also rediscovering old hobbies I'd not touched for some time, such as my love of retro Warhammer models. I mean, look at this. Looks like the average Englishman after 10 pints of Stella and a Scotch egg. For the Americans watching who don't know what a Scotch egg is, it's fucking disgusting. That's what it is. But enough about me and British cuisine. What about Dragonflight? Well, the clue is in the name, to be honest. It's going to have a lot of dragons in it. So many, in fact, that it's going to be hard not to use the word dragon when discussing this expansion, seeing as it's in literally everything. Dragon flight, dragon isles, dragon riding. Now, what does this remind me of? Now, it's not exactly a shock that Blizzard are making a dragon-focused expansion. After all, we've been talking about the Dragon Isles for years now, but it is a bit of a significant pivot away from the cosmic juju of the last few years, and I don't see any tentacles anywhere here, unless Alex Strauss hiding something.
Very nice.
All I can say is it seems like my girlfriend was right when she observed that if you fucked up your franchise, just come back with dragons. Let's just hope we don't have a patch about Alex Strauss shagging her nephew. There is a bit of hopium going on here, and let's be honest, when is there not? But it seems to be rooted in reality rather than the brutal enslavement to a vengeful ex-girlfriend, which constitutes the relationship that most of us have with WoW at this point. Blizzard are cutting out their focus on unnecessary, time-consuming systems, which no one asked for, and reintroducing the radical idea that players should actually enjoy playing their game, rather than feeling forced to sacrifice their firstborn child to the dark gods just to keep up with the grind. So far, the expansion looks more like what we were used to seeing 10 or so years ago than what we've had since Legion, and whilst there's no single feature which is steaming my dumplings right now, the thought of getting my own dragon and flying around what looks like some of the best looking zones Warcraft has seen, well, I can dig it.
Milky Way.
A lot of these zones actually remind me of, dare I say it, Wrath? However, I think it's important to address a matter of controversy surrounding this expansion at this point. It's the revamped Alex Strauss model. Now, I'm sure many of you are outraged that Alex is no longer dressed like an Attitude Era diva. Well, maybe not the Paladin players, who are of course holy knights who have taken an oath of celibacy both in and out of game. Personally, I prefer the newer version as I find it easier to take the character seriously when she's not wearing a thong, but for those of you who like your waifus a little more scantily clad, I'm confident that there's a wealth of, let's say, unofficial art out there for you to enjoy. It is interesting that the most appealing aspect of Dragonflight is its stripped down back to basics approach, which seems much more like an older expansion for WoW than what we've had since Legion. I feel like I can see myself playing again because the game isn't just a list of chores before bedtime, and whilst most of the characters and locations in the X-Pack will be new, the theme feels more consistent with Azeroth than, you know, fighting a fucking giant bald blue Wraith Vines. Now, I'm not saying this will be some triumphant return for me to no life in the game and a lifestyle of existing on 49p Spar energy drinks and Rustler's barbecue ribs, which is probably still better than a Scotch egg to be honest, but I will return for the first month of the expansion at least, or possibly at most. Jokes aside though, I am genuinely looking forward to the changes Dragonflight is set to bring. It is interesting that for the first time, perhaps ever, a WoW expansion is receiving praise and catching my eye not because of what it's adding to the game, but rather the negative features it's stripping away. That sounds kind of strange when you think about it, but hey, I guess my girl was right when she told me that the best way to avoid disappointment is to get used to receiving a little less. Wait, what? Way, you made it to the end of the video. What are you still doing here? Haven't you got something better to do with your time? Anyway, thanks for watching, especially to those Asmongold viewers that subscribed in your hundreds only for me to, you know, not make a video for another 5 months. Sorry about that. Hope you enjoyed this one though. I do have a few more ideas tickling the back of my brain, so stick around and I shall see you in the next video. All the best guys. Bye bye.